Welcome back to the Piping Pastor. It is only halfway through the weekend and it's already been exhausting. We had it's been very busy at work to begin with. We have a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of different people going in different directions, pulling different weights, doing different things, and so it's a bit chaotic and not in any way typical. So as a result, there's a lot more time in and out, so on and so forth, and just busy, busy, busy. And then on Friday after work, after a very long week, we had a going away party for a brother of mine who serves in the ministry with me, who's leaving and moving back to the East Coast. So we had that get together, and I'm not naturally an extrovert. I'm more towards the introvert side of the scale. I don't think someone's either 100% one or 100% the other. But generally speaking, I like my alone time. Maybe one of the reasons I smoke a pipe. But it's, it can be exhausting. And, for work, of course, I have to be an extrovert all the time, every day at work. So in my off time, I like to kind of kick back, relax, and not be in a big group of socializing and stuff on a regular basis. So the Friday night was fun. It was great. It was good to hang out with some brothers and sisters in Christ and fellow ministers of the gospel. But at the end of that, I was kind of like, okay, I'm tired. I'm ready to go. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. And then this morning, on Saturday here, there is an anime convention here in El Paso this weekend. And my youngest daughter is a huge fan of anime. So I told her I would take her. And can't just go to one of these things. You also have to, wear costumes. So we spent a week getting our costumes together. And, we went to the convention, we saw it through the panel, she walked around, we bought some stuff for her and some of her friends who couldn't go, and they wanted some stuff autographed. So we get in line for this voice actor who voices one of the main characters of one of the animes that she really enjoys. 4 hours I stood in line in costume waiting to get these things signed. So just got back from that and hadn't eaten, right? We left at like 9 o'clock this morning, so had some toast and coffee this morning and a pipe, and then hit the road, and then we're there all day. And it's right now it's a little after 3 o'clock. So just got back and I was like, I need a cup of coffee and a pipe, and I just need to go sit for a second. So that's what I'm doing now. Enjoying in my Peterson Lestrade here. I'm having some Indaba. My Indaba mixed with a little Dark Fire Kentucky. It wasn't it wasn't the go-to tobacco I was going to smoke. I was planning on breaking into my haunted pirate ship today, but then I couldn't remember when exactly I jarred it. I know it was about a month ago, but I'm not sure. And I always like to, once I mix it and jar it, I like to let it sit for at least a month before I crack into it. Now it's like, a week may make a difference, it may not, but you know what? I can be patient, wait another week. I'll work on this Indaba. And obviously, just refilled the Zippo and then dropped it on myself. It's all right, no harm, no foul, no burns. In any case, so I had noticed today, I was going through it last night actually, and I was getting caught up on some of my videos, and I saw that Brother Rob had recently paid a visit to the Frog and Toad up in northern Wisconsin, and I was like, that's awesome. I think it's very cool when those of us in the YTPC who have these virtual connections can ever meet up and have connections in person. I think that's great. And normally it's just at pipe shows, if one can make it to a pipe show. So I think it's great that he got to go up there and sit in the snug and have a pipe along with his wife. And if I ever find myself in northern Wisconsin, I definitely will do the same thing, because I would love to sit and smoke a pipe in that little pub. But it reminded me I have not for, oh goodness, months and months done a Wit and Wisdom video. So those of you who may be new to the channel, and I have had some new subscribers recently, thank you again for joining on. Wit and Wisdom was a series of videos I started a couple of years ago because I received a couple of gifts from Brother Rob, Hoot and a Briar, and one of them was my corncob pipe, which it's up there. And normally I smoke the corncob for these videos, so I'm smoking the wrong pipe. But I got the corncob pipe from him, and I also got this neat little book of Mark Twain's Wit and Wisecracks. And this book, actually, this is something that Brother Rob did on his channel for a while, where he would read these little quotes from Mark Twain. He's a huge fan of Mark Twain. And so when I got the book, I said, I'm going to continue that tradition, and I'm going to put my own spin on it, of course. So I'm going to, go through and do these quotes of Mark Twain, but I'm going to put them in conversation with the Bible, or put them in conversation with other literary writers, right? Try to widen the scope a little bit from some of Mark Twain's wit. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So this is the quote I have for today. There are people who strictly deprive themselves of each and every eatable, drinkable, and smokable which has in any way acquired a shady reputation. And they pay this price for health. And health is all they get. How strange it is. I thought this was a really good quote to put in conversation with a Bible verse that I think speaks to this, and the two together speak rather pointedly to some of the new stuff coming out on YouTube. And that is, who among you by worrying can add one day to their life? The answer to that verse from the Bible is none of you, of course. Worrying does not give you another day of life, right? And that's largely what you see people making these health choices for, is because they're worried about their health. If you ask them, why are you not eating bacon anymore? Or I'm worried about my cholesterol. Why don't you sit down and have a piece of cake with us? I'm worried about my weight. I'm worried about my blood pressure. I'm worried about this or that, the other thing. Now, I'm not saying that you should not be concerned about your health. Of course. You should try to be healthy because you'll feel better, right? You should exercise and you should eat as clean as possible and so on and so forth. But to completely deprive yourself of every eatable, drinkable, and smokable, as he says, you may get healthier. You may, have the chance of greater longevity. But at the end of the day, you're depriving yourselves of things which might bring you joy, right? And the whole new rule thing on YouTube about promoting tobacco use, right, or saying incorrect things about tobacco and so on and so forth, or glorifying it, which is an odd choice of terms I think that they use, glorifying the use of tobacco. I think they're getting close on divine terms there, but it's, yes, of course, everyone knows that all the negative things about tobacco. Right? I mean, if you're curious, order a tin of tobacco in the UK. You'll get all the information you want to get about all the negative effects of tobacco, yada, 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 right? But if you enjoy it, then enjoy it, right? The idea that you can worry yourself to immortality, or be such a healthy eater, such forth, that you could live to be 200 years old, is just false. Yes, you may live longer. You may get hit by a truck. You will feel better if you eat more clean, and you will feel better if you get at least a moderate amount of exercise. But to become militant about it and cut all those things out of your life, then it's like, okay, you're going to live longer, but really, are you going to really find a lot of joy in that longevity? Probably not. Because you're depriving them of everything that tastes good, right? Everything that's enjoyable. And it doesn't really matter nowadays anyway, because there's so many pollutants and GMO foods and everything else like that, and all of the different things that are in our food supply and our water supply and so on and so forth. So, even if you spend the necessary money to eat fully organic and eat all the right things, or maybe even grow and produce your own food, you're still, it's not like you're going to go back to the Plesioic era and have totally clean eating, right? That's just not a possible thing right now. So, yeah, you know what? Do the right thing, be healthy, but don't worry yourself into an early grave because you're trying to eat healthy to have a longer life. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody getting out of this alive anyway. So that is it for me today. I'm going to turn back to my tobacco, which I am very aware of all the negative effects therein, and I'm going to enjoy it anyway, along with my coffee that's full of caffeine. It is also probably not great in a health perspective, but I'm going to enjoy both of them, and I'm going to enjoy some time in my library in the quiet. I hope you do the same. As always, happy reading.